Hello, EK Nation. Welcome to a new edition of This Week in Karting, episode number 95. It is March the 10th, 2026. And indeed, we are actually This Week in Karting because our last show was last Tuesday, March the 3rd, 2026, episode 94. So we are on track. I think it's the first time ever. We've actually had back-to-back shows here on subsequent weeks.
Not ever. Come on now.
Rob Howden here alongside David Cole. No, I think ever. I think it's
no. There was a time last year at this time that we were able to go back to back.
All right.
Sometimes we've done it with Nate. Back with Nate Dean was doing the
maybe.
podcast.
But listen, I always talk about changing it to this month in karting, but those shows would be too long. So, anyways, today's show presented by Margay Racing. If you're looking for a great racing program and a level playing field, check out Margay Racing's Spec Ignite class and their Arrive and Drive packages. Nothing matches the affordability and competitive level of the Ignite program. It's where the best driver wins over the best equipment. Bring your safety gear and Margay will take care of the rest. This year's Ignite majors include the WEK Daytona Kart Week, the Quincy Grand Prix, and the Rock Island Grand Prix on Labor Day weekend. The Midwest-based Ignite Challenge Series will hit 5 different tracks in 2026, and be sure to find a club or track running the Ignite class in your part of the country this season. For more information, please visit ignitekarting.com today. Get off the couch and into a race seat with Margay. All right, David Cole, let's dive into this thing here right now. A new edition of This Week in Karting. For those of you who may be listening to the podcast for the first time, essentially, David and I take everything that was been on the EK and homepage, all the news that made it to the website, all the stuff, all the editorial that he and I have been able to put out there, mostly David, sometimes a bit of me, but putting it all into podcast format. Perfect for your drive to or from work, working on the kart to get ready for the 2026 season in the garage. Great way to get things up to date. We are almost done with Q1, first quarter of the year. Not surprisingly, that means we're wrapping up all the winter programs. SuperKarts USA Winter Series wrapping up, Rotax Winter Trophy. And this past weekend, David, the Rock Cup USA Florida Winter Tour wrapping up in Palmetto.
Yeah, it wrapped up with their inaugural visit to the T4 Kartplex that is in the essentially Tampa Bay, St. Pete area, correct?
A little south of that. You could go
south of that, but
over the bridge, but yeah.
That's the kind of the major metropolitan area near there. So I guess what's south of there? I can't
Naples. Keep going south to Naples.
Right? There you go. That's what I was thinking. So so again, got to bring the Rock Cup USA Florida Winter Tour over there for the first time. So they wrapped up, like you said, the 3-round program that they were doing for 2026, 2 rounds in Orlando in January and February, and then coming to Palmetto in March. So again, a number of different winners on the weekend. Again, only one final for the Florida Winter Tour format. Kind of a big win for Victor D. Alencar in the Rock SV category. That kind of stood out along with Nico Arbezo, our February driver of the month, for winning both at SCUSA Winter Series and at the Florida Winter Tour. So he picked up the Rock GP Junior victory, which didn't quite equate into a championship. However, Nico Katowski picking up that championship. Some other notables, Dutch Westbrook picking up the mini victory, a first win for Emmett Dalton in the micro division. Canadian Aiden Ingrata picking up the VLR senior win. Those are some of the notable wins. Again, championships were decided. So all of those categories at the program. We got brothers winning championships. You got Nico Katowski and Jack Katowski winning championships. Jack winning the micro division championship, and he was our January driver of the month as well. So some good momentums. Good momentums there for Obezo and the Katowski brothers. So Nico, I think, was a winner at the round 1, actually won a bunch of races there. He actually doubled up in February at the SCUSA Winter Series as well too. So it's been a good month, a couple of months for a couple of drivers. A driver to win and earn the championship, Isaac Malkit winning the Rock VLR Junior title there as well.
David, one thing to kind of note as well is that the Rock Cup Florida Winter Tour ran both they ran shifters, but they also in shifter and in the VLR class, the Masters class, they also run those Super Masters categories as well. for the drivers 45 years of age and older. So just want to kind of throw that out there that we've been seeing this Supermaster thing happen a little bit. Scott Falcone's been one of the guys behind, hey, listen, if we can get some, class for the guys 45 and older, I think we'll see some more entries. There have been a number of entries, and that program was on the Winter Tour as well.
Yeah, let's be honest. Some of those longtime Masters drivers, they're making their way up, moving their way up in the age ranks. So that's part of the progression of our sport, certainly. So Falcone was able to pick up the championship, but it was Ariel Castro winning the Supermaster main event in Palmetto. Daniel Romalo picking up the win and championship in the VLR Master Division. Skitchy Barnes a win and championship in Rock Shifter Master, while Morn Van Tack the winner and champion in the Rock Shifter Supermaster Division.
Yeah, James Andrews scoring the KZ win. Dominic Karai getting the title there as well. Some interesting notes, David. Let's talk entries first. What did the entries level look like for the three events this year?
Yeah, not the bigger numbers they had last year. 185 to start out the year in January, and of course you go down towards the as the program progresses and went to 175 the following weekend, and then 129 in Palmetto. And talking with Mike Burrell, with the facility that is there for the T4 Kartplex, there's a pond or I guess you would call it a pond, correct?
Yeah.
There's a lot of geographical situations that kind of hinder the amount of space you can use, and there's not very big paddock space. He was telling me, I asked him how the weekend went, and he said 130 is probably the maximum number of entries you could probably pull out with the facility there. So again, kind of that regional club programmed racetrack that used to be a car testing facility.
Yeah, if you go back into the history of the place, John Betos built it first. It was at that point he was the Van Diemen dealer and part of the USF at that point, the Cooper Tire Z-Tech program. And yeah, it was really, you kind of drove the outside of the track. They built this track essentially on a small piece of land. There is that retention pond in the middle. There's garages up through the middle of it as well. The track itself is pretty cool. It's flat. It's not a massive racetrack by any sense of imagination. It kind of buckles around on itself, but there's not a lot of room. A lot goes on. There's a lot of stuff happening at the track, a lot of outbuildings and businesses that are on the facility as well. So, yeah, not surprising at all that 130 is about the most you could jam in. I can imagine that they had every available piece of asphalt or grass or sand to be able to put some teams on. So good to see them at least get down there. As we know, the T4 Kartplex, David, the kind of hub of the Tillotson T4 program in the U.S. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of races there, but good on the guys at Rock Cup for trying something new in Florida.
Yeah, trying something different. Again, you got to go to different facilities. There's some that are not capable, don't have the amenities. So that's part of the situations when you have racetracks. It's not like dirt racing where you can just pave a little dirt oval in your backyard and start welcoming people over in your backyard. So, asphalt sprint racing is a little bit different. But talking with Mike Burrell again, he said, the one major positive is there were no red flags for all 3 weekends of the program. So that's definitely a positive moving forward for the Rock program.
Talk about the end of the Florida Winter Tour wrapping up in Palmetto, another big event on the weekend as well at Charlotte Motor Speedway. What is it called nowadays? Is it even Charlotte
Motor Speedway?
It's back to be. It's Charlotte again. Good.
Yeah, it's Charlotte Motor Speedway. Thankfully, yeah.
Thinking of Atlanta, didn't they? Atlanta Motor.
Yes.
Speedway, weird name.
Somebody said the name. I'm like, which racetrack are you talking about?
It's like something Park or something like that, isn't it?
Yes.
It's
weird. I don't even know. And it just boggles. I'm like,
yeah.
Can't you just put the name in front and then still call it Atlanta Motor Speedway?
Exactly right. Yeah, it's super weird. Cup Karts North America, the Spring Nationals, a massive event again. This event has really kind of locked itself down into a big race at Charlotte. They, of course, got things rolling. They have the Winter Nats, the Spring Nats, the Summer Nats, and, of course, the Grand Nationals, which will celebrate its 10th edition this year. But, David, let's dive in a little bit. I know you put together a report. We weren't able to be trackside for that event, but you put together a report on the Spring Nationals.
Yeah, highlight the 9 different winners from the one-off event. Again, the second major of the 2026 season. Begin with the biggest category, 83 entries in senior medium. Cale Zimmerman, coming off a win at Grand Nationals 9, was able to duplicate that with the victory there in Charlotte Motor Speedway, as he beat off the pack there. First big win in the senior ranks for Lucas Thick, the Florida driver, picking up his first career CKNA major win in the senior light division. Interesting story in the senior heavy. Owen Lloyd, a winner 4 times now at the CKNA Spring Nationals. This is his, I believe it was his second in the heavy, or might have been his first. I didn't pull up my folder, so I don't have the file ready to go. But he has the most wins at the Spring Nationals of any driver right now. But he's also part of the first brother duo to win at the Spring Nationals. His brother Aaron Lloyd won in this category in 2021. Oh, wow. So quite unique scenario there. But Owen Lloyd, a 2-time winner. That's what it is. 2-time winner in the senior light division and a former junior winner as well too. Nice. So.
All right.
AJ Roderick, not enjoying that name being up in the Masters category as the driver picks up his first CKNA major win in his class debut. So it's been kind of going back and forth with him on Messenger. I'm retiring now until I can get to Legends age, because he's now a Masters driver. It's just not true. It's not right.
I see where we're going with it. I see where we're going with this. I see where we're going with this. Where you still bag on me. I'm 10 years older than you still bag on me. I get it. I see. So you're in that place, David. You're in that place now. You're a whiny little bitch about running in Masters. Oh my God,
that just means now I got to work out like you did that one year.
I'm so old right now. I can't believe it's not fair.
No, it just means I got to work out now.
Yeah,
that's
so
all.
You want to jump into Legends as a 50-year-old, be that young punk that comes in to cherry pick against those guys that are 60 years old. I see how it works.
Yeah, Jeff Scott was one of them at one time. And,
I see how it works, Dave.
It's been done.
I see how it works.
Done. Yeah.
Speaking of Legends,
mm-hmm.
Todd Bolton, 2-time winner.
Yeah, one of the 3 sweeps on the weekend. Todd was able to dominate the category, lead basically from qualifying all the way through to the main event. So a pretty dominant performance. I think, Charlotte Motor Speedway is kind of his racetrack. This is his second time there winning. He won back in 2024. Used to race there back in the old days in the Manufacturers Cup Series programs and all the other major events that were there at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So he knows his way around that racetrack very well.
Really fast and wide open layout now, especially for a 206.
Yeah, that's something I haven't driven it yet.
Either. I want to.
You haven't. So that, again, I almost went down this past weekend. I was, but just too much going on at home right now. Hopefully have more time next year to get back behind the wheel. But yeah, it just seems that way. There is still that crazy little bump after the long back straightaway. They come out of that sweeping left-hand corner. There's still that bump there. I don't know why they can't just grind that down and flatten it out. But the racetrack, since they repaved it, super, super fast and flowing for Briggs, pretty much flat out. I got to assume for the shifter guys, it's a little bit more complicated because there is some good 90-degree corners there, which back and forth type flow of the racetrack.
Let's cap things off, David, with junior, sportsman, cadet, and kid kart.
Yeah, first-time winners in all 4 categories. Daniel Dragunov winning in the junior division. Austin Taylor winning in the sportsman division. A sweep by Slate Harrell in the cadet category for Nitro Kart, while William Heckman taking the kid kart victory with a sweep of his own.
We didn't talk about it from the get-go, but how many entries did we have at that event? High 4s, right?
428. So where'd it go?
That's still
I thought I wrote it in the story. I guess I didn't. I had the story up, but I didn't have anything else up. So around around the 420 mark, I want to believe.
Wow. Hey, listen, there's a great program right now for Briggs & Stratton 206 drivers, CKNA, obviously getting it done. Some big events, with the Spring Nats, the Grand Nationals. We'll see what kind of numbers they have for the Summer Nats this year. Just a really good program. A lot of people diving in, jumping in those big races. So nice to see it. And again, that's the thing about 206, right, David? It's your local Saturday club race all the way up to guys that are able to run, against the absolute best in the sport, especially here on the East Coast.
Well, Rob, it's interesting. I've been looking at it, and basically, Cup Karts has become like that manufacturer's cup style, where it's the racers who aren't going all over the country and racing 52 weekends out of the year, and a lot of the senior racers are those drivers that are either 18 or older, or in that range of not being able to go to these major 2-cycle events, and this is where they're racing. And if you look, probably if we really kind of break down that age demographic, I think that the numbers will back me up on that opinion, where I think that's why we get such big numbers there. Is, again, it's a more affordable racing compared to the 2-cycle side of things.
100%. Yeah, 100%. All right, into our first break here on this edition of This Week in Karting. When we come back, we'll dive into some Superkarts USA Pro Tour information, and we'll head overseas to have a look at the WSK Supermaster Series. Be part of the premier regional kart racing series in the Lone Star State. Take part in the 2026 Texas Sprint Racing Series with their 5-race schedule that travels all over Texas and Louisiana. The season begins in March at the Speed Sports Racing Park in New Caney, Texas, before traveling east to Nola Motorsports Park in New Orleans at the beginning of May. The newly renamed Amarillo Motorsports Park in Panhandle, Texas, will host the middle stop of the season in June. Trips to Kart Moto and Speed Sports complete our calendar, and we're excited to welcome all of our racers back to the track. The Texas Sprint Racing Series will make its 3rd trip to the Kart Moto facility in Crescent, Texas at the end of August, after a month off in July, before drivers and teams will contest the series finale in late September, returning to Speed Sports Racing Park in Houston. Don't miss any of the action. Details on the rules and class structure, which includes the new Tillotson T4 senior category, can be found at TexasSprintSeries.com, along with a list of the full championship prize package for the official Superkarts USA and International Kart Federation Series. The Texas Sprint Racing Series will be one of the biggest programs in the U.S. in 2026. Make sure you're there.
Welcome to AIM Sports and the groundbreaking Micron 6 karting data logger. Since its inception, AIM Sports has been at the forefront of motorsport technology, revolutionizing how racers gather data. From its early days, AIM has tailored its innovations to provide precise insights, allowing racers to fine-tune their strategies and push their limits. Fast forward to today, and we're excited to celebrate 30 years of Micron by introducing the latest evolution in karting data loggers, the Micron 6. Designed with cutting-edge features, including 25Hz GPS with mil-spec precision, a 6-axis inertial platform, shift lights and alarms, temperature inputs, and a host of wired and wireless expansions. With 2 CAN buses, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi, it's perfect for karting enthusiasts looking to enhance their game on the track. With its advanced suite of sensors, high-speed data acquisition, and easy-to-use interface, the Micron 6 delivers unparalleled performance on track. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, this powerful tool helps you analyze every turn, every lap, even every heartbeat. Imagine a tool that not only records your lap times, but also analyzes parameters like speed, tire temperature, driver inputs, and engine performance. With the Micron 6, you'll gain insights that can shave seconds off your times and elevate your skills behind the wheel. Don't just drive, be data-driven. Join the AIM Sports community today and equip yourself with the Micron 6 to take your karting experience to the next level. Visit aimsports.com to learn more. AIM Sports, 30 years of Micron.
Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole. It's This Week in Karting, the show that provides you with all the information that worked its way onto the EKN homepage over the last week, actually. We're only a week away from the last show which was March the 3rd, last Tuesday. Again, diving into this one here, David, as I said before the break, talking now about the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour. Their Winter Nationals in Texas wrapped up and done. Time to look at the Pro Tour. The Winter Nationals, the event next up at the end of this month. You and I are heading out to Musselman Honda Circuit in Tucson, Arizona. Looking forward to that one. But big news that, again, if you're a Masters driver, we talked a lot about Masters and Legends before the break at the CKNA race. But the SCUSA Pro Tour confirming KA 100 Master for the Winter Nationals. That's big.
Yeah, it's big. It was one of those that they weren't going to do it, and then they got enough support to be able to pull that off. So they're going to be running KA Master throughout the SCUSA Pro Tour. So that'll be good. You'll obviously see a bunch at the Midwest events, I would hope.
Yep.
And then, of course, you got a lot of the drivers on the Western Coast looking to get back into the Pro Tour mix, with this being the first time in a while that the Pro Tour has been on the I guess Arizona's now in the Mountain Time, right? It's not even Pacific.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So still not even in the West Coast time.
I'm just happy to see Masters stay on the Pro Tour. I just, I've been with SuperKarts USA at their events since, the late 90s. And, big part of the SuperKarts USA Pro Moto Tour back in the day was what was in the G1 class, right? Was the Masters category. It's been a big part of shifter racing. It's been a big part of the sport for many years. And I would hate to see it, leave the top level of national racing. I know that ebbs and flows.
Yep.
There's drivers who are in it. Like, there's been times when it's been 30 guys. Obviously, everybody comes out for the Super Nationals, but not as many people can travel. Masters drivers work for a living. A lot of them own businesses, whatever it may be. But I'm happy to see KA Master out there, our class, and a category. I think it's crucial. It's a big part of our sport.
Yeah, and again, you just got to have the numbers, because if they got 5 guys out there, it's a lot of wasted time. That's on true. A race weekend that big. So, and again, we're talking the Pro Tour. We've said it over and over. In order to be a pro program, we got to act like we're pros. So if we don't have the numbers for this category, it shouldn't even be on the schedule. So I agree with the sense of forcing these guys to commit and get on board with it. Otherwise, we're going to move on. It's
100%.
It's kind of the way life is in today's world. So, but good to see it back on. KA Senior Pro Shifter almost sold out. So those are going to be massive fields. Again, they're not going to do multiple heats in any of the categories due to the added category on the schedule. And obviously time situations and stuff like that. So once they're sold out, they're sold out. So that's going to be key.
David, do we have some numbers yet? Where are we in terms of entries? We're still what, over 2 weeks out. So what are we looking at for entries?
Well, over 200 entries right now.
Wow,
I don't have the exact number. I'm just going by, what they've been able to provide us. We know junior and cadet categories are over half full. So that's a positive as well too. So I got to expect we're going to, I don't know if we'll necessarily get into 300 entries, but I think we'll be where we are. We're definitely going to be where we are at for the Winter Series, if not more. Nice. And that's kind of what we were kind of forecasting. I was talking with Neil Strickland there at SuperKarts USA. I go, you're going to get those West Coast guys that are going to want to go down there because it's closer to home now and a little bit easier. So you're going to get more guys that didn't go to Texas that are going to be going to the Pro Tour. You're still going to get guys from the East Coast who didn't go to the Winter Series coming out to do the Pro Tour because they want to be part of that program. So looking at the pit space, it's a lot of teams, so that's big, and a lot of teams taking up a lot of space. So
yeah, I don't think we've ever seen, like, I had a quick look at it as well. You sent it over to me, the pit map. We've never seen guys pitted out down the straightaway. Essentially, it's obviously barriers out there. The pit map's wild, folks. When you get there, it's a different setup.
Yeah, and I again, being there many, many years, I got to assume we're going to have big fire lanes, and that's maybe the reason why we're not as compact, because I thought there's no way that this paddock is smaller than Speed Sports, and we pretty much got everybody in at Speed Sports when we got to 300 entries. So maybe geographically I'm wrong, but I thought visually looking at it, Tucson was if not just a little bit bigger than what we were for Speed Sports. So it'll be interesting to see how they lay everything out.
Dave, I know that you checked in on the WSK Supermaster Series event that happened over at South Garda, I believe, a week ago or last weekend. And we filed a report, or at least they filed a report that we get up on the website. Give us some insight, because a number of American drivers running overseas.
Yeah, we're continuing to kind of follow, as we have for the last several years, the drivers racing over there in Europe. And over the last 5, it's been more and more and more. And one of them showing well this year in 2026, Zane Burgess, the driver out of Florida, winning the 3rd time in 4 rounds in the Mini U10 category. So definitely build up a big championship lead now, holding a 167-point lead right now in the championship, ironically next to another driver running under the American flag. Don't hate me trying to say this name, but Blake Sue. I would assume the H in the front is silent.
That's what I would think too. Sue. Yep.
Sue, yeah. A driver for Tony Kart Racing Team. Burgess obviously racing for Parolin Racing now. But Blake is a Tony Kart Racing Team driver, finished 3rd at the South Garda event and is 2nd in the Mini U10 Championship. We had a 3rd driver on the podium on the weekend at South Garda Karting. It was Win Godshock. He actually went 31st to 3rd in the Mini main event, so a wild run for him. Even though he got a disqualification last event, he still sits 3rd in the championship, only 21 points back. And so anything could happen. So we could actually see 2 drivers from the USA locking in championships in the cadet ranks. At Lenado, we had Alessandro Truchot finishing 7th in the OK Junior category. He's the top driver in that championship, sitting 8th right now. Michael McGoy was the top driver in the OK category with a finish of 8th, while we have Devin Waltz sitting 10th in that championship. And then Victor Thomas Go-Run is the top finisher in the OKN Junior category. He finished 9th, while Colton Schniegenberg, is the top driver in that championship standing, sitting 7th. So again, a lot of USA drivers there in the top 10.
Nice. All right. Off to another break. When we come back, we're going to look at some of the EKN editorial stuff that we've been able to put out here over the last week and a bit. Stay tuned. More to come.
Are you a club racer looking for that next challenge, or a driver searching for more racing? Look no further than the leading karting series in the Midwest. The Route 66 Sprint Series is focused on providing a fun family atmosphere while also offering a perfect stepping stone for those at a club level looking to take their racing to the next phase. With 11 different classes, the Route 66 Sprint Series has racing for all ages, utilizing IAME and Briggs & Stratton engines along with their new shifter categories for senior and master drivers. The 4-event Route 66 Sprint Series calendar has stopped at some of the Midwest's finest karting facilities. Kicking off the season in April will be the Newcastle Motorsports Park in Indiana, before traveling to the recently repaved Norway Motorsports Park in Illinois this June. The month of July takes the program to Millwright Raceway, the home of the Badger Karting Club, before setting up for the series finale at the historic Road America facility and the Briggs & Stratton Motorplex in August. Whether you're trying to make the step up to regional racing or a seasoned pro of the sport, the Route 66 Sprint Series is right for you. For more information, go to Route66karting.com and find us on social media at Route 66 Sprint Series.
History, success, family. Those are the 3 words that can describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation, located just outside of Indianapolis, has provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in the near 6 decades of business. Their online store features everything you need, continually adding new parts to their product line. From full karting packages, new engines, spare or replacement parts, and safety gear, find it all at CometKartSales.com. Their Comet Racing Engine service has won multiple major events and championships over decades of karting and continues to offer the best trackside service in the industry, specializing in IAME X30, IAME Swift, and other 2-cycle power plants. Make sure to head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. Back at it with episode 95 of This Week in Karting. Great to have you with us here, folks, on the EKN Radio Network. We talked a lot about the news that came into the EKN news desk over the last little while. A bunch of racing events happening this past weekend, as we know. Dave, let's dive into some of the editorial that you've been able to put out here. I had a good time reading the article that you wrote about the FC Shifter program, because it's a very interesting component of the sport right now. Obviously, shifter kart racing is big. People have always loved shifter karts. I've always loved it. It's the way I got into the sport, essentially, in terms of being a journalist with Shifter Kart Illustrated magazine. But people still love banging gears, and it has evolved big time over the last couple of decades, from the mod motos to stock Honda. Obviously, ICC at one point. KZ is now the kind of flavor of the day at the very top. But this new FC Shifter program is getting roots. And we're going to see it at another program here in 2026.
Yeah, it's going to be featured at the new RMC America's Trophy program, set to debut here next week at the Musselman Honda Circuit in Tucson, Arizona. Again, it's kind of the brainchild of Factory Karts and Billy Musgrave, trying to get back to, like you said, that stock moto type scenario and atmosphere where, again, kind of a more durable, a more affordable, a more, I guess, less abrasive engine to be able to enjoy, 6-speed performance on a karting track. So
yeah, listen, it goes back to where shifter kart racing started, folks. Those of you who don't know, at least over here in the US, Superkarts USA, when it first started, it was the Honda CR125, the Yamaha YZ. Suzuki RM, I think the RM 125, I think that it was
Kawasaki,
right? And Kawasaki got in there as well. Husqvarna was in there for a bit. It was essentially taking the engines off a 125cc or 80cc dirt bike, throwing it on a kart. That's how shifter kart racing really got rolling in the US. So this whole connection with motocross engines has been something that's been around forever. The stability of that Honda CR125, which became kind of the de facto engine in the mod moto days, even that was the basis of the stock moto program that was so huge for shifter kart racing. It really, with Billy Musgrave seeing that, saying, "Hey, listen, we need to do that again. This is still the best, the most affordable engine we can get. It still puts on a cart perfectly. Yeah, the pipes are in a bit different place than the KZ, but it's the core foundation of shifter kart racing in the US over the last 25 plus years."
Well, and again, you got to have different platforms because there's different budgets across the globe, not just here in the US, but across the globe. And when you think KZ, you're thinking over five figures to be able to go out and make some laps. If you can do that for a couple $1,000s less, it's a positive. And plus reliability, that's something that was always an issue when there was the Formula C and ICC, and now KZ is they're very meticulous. The engines like certain things and don't like certain things. So I kind of relate the FZ kind of to almost building off that Rotax platform, because that's something that Rotax has always promoted since it began over basically 3 decades ago, was the reliability and how long you can run an engine for. They talk about 40 to 50 hours on an engine. And I think that's really the focus that Musgrave really has around this FZ shifter platform, is that you can run these engines nonstop and keep going and try to make them as bulletproof as possible. And that's, again, that's what it's aiming towards. The grassroots racer, the regional racer, not these guys that are trying to be pro tour champions, but get the ground. Again, we talk about grassroots racing. That's what the Briggs & Stratton has done with the 206 platform, brought people back into the sport, brought new people in, because it's a kind of a level playing field. This is kind of a level playing field as well too, and not quite as fast as the KZ platform is.
Yeah, true enough. Dave, you already mentioned it actually when we were talking about the Florida Winter Tour, talking about Nicolas Orbezo, but you actually put together a whole program. Again, we nominated him and selected him as our driver of the month for February 2026. You were able to kind of do a deep dive into Nico's career and everything he's focused on for 2026.
Yeah, great performance by him over the opening 2 months. Again, winning at the SCUSA Winter Series program in the KA 100 junior category. He was one of 4 different winners in that class in speed sports. So very competitive KA junior program in 2026 for sure. And then went over and won also at the Florida Winter Tour, was able to back that up, as we said last weekend. Not quite the championship. So that was his ultimate goal, was to grab that championship. Unfortunately, didn't get to do that, but still going to be doing a lot of racing. He'll be at the Texas Sprint Racing Series this weekend, and doing America's Trophy program along with the SCUSA Pro Tour, and then try and dabble a little bit into some car stuff, try and get his kind of feet wet in car racing a little bit as well too.
Interesting. All right, another break. We get back, our What's Hot segment. Latest topic in the sport of karting. David and I are going to talk about multi-engine racing. Will we see it return to the USA? We'll be back after this. Ready to step up your game? Joining the Rawlison Performance Group is the obvious choice to take your racing to the next level. Industry-leading driver development is provided by our staff of multi-time national champions, Super Nationals winners, and Team USA members. And at the same time, RPG continues to be a national level powerhouse race team. Our goal is to help you raise your game and win races. We work with all age groups and are focused on developing those cadet and junior drivers who are ready to take the next step in their racing program. Rawlison Performance Group has set a new standard with our in-house engine program, AVP Engines, headed by Alex Vincent. AVP has become the benchmark in IAME competition. We have the largest OTK inventory that follows our race team, providing trackside parts at all the major events in North America. RPG also offers multilingual support with French, Spanish, and Portuguese-speaking staff. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. The Rawlison Performance Group. We race to win.
The karting championship that's taken Europe by storm and helped launch today's top open-wheel stars is now in the United States. Introducing Champions of the Future America. Champions of the Future America is a 9-round series that welcomes drivers across multiple classes, including Mini, KA100, and X30. Champions of the Future America tours 2 of the Southwest's premier karting facilities, K1 Circuit in Southern California and Spring Mountain Karting Complex in Nevada. Drivers will compete across 8 unique track layouts in pursuit of a prize pool valued at over $130,000. The ultimate reward? Our X30 Pro champion will win an all-expenses-paid trip to France for a 3-day Formula 4 training camp at the legendary Winfield Racing School at Circuit Paul Ricard. Learn more about Champions of the Future America. Register now at championskartingamerica.com. That's championskartingamerica.com.
Back at it here in This Week in Karting, our segment here called What's Hot. Essentially, David and I diving into one of the latest topics in the sport of karting. David, as I mentioned before the break, you've got down multi-engine racing here. Will we see it return to the USA? Start things off.
You don't want to say like what's hot. You don't want to do that.
I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that.
It's just I saw an article about spec racing and stuff like that, so it kind of got my brain thinking, and really, because even you look at our KZ platform, you look at the OKN that's racing here in the US, it's all pretty much the same engine, and we don't really, aside from Challenging Americas right now, don't have any really multi-engine racing at the either national or even at the regional level.
Well, yeah, for regionally, you got to go Northwest Kart Racing. So
there are
right?
They got a couple regional programs.
They got a full-on tag program up there. I think they have 3 different engines running in the 100cc program, the 125 program as well. So shout out to the guys up there at the is it the Burley Cup right now? I think it's called
I lost the name. It's changed too many times.
I'll figure it out. But yeah, so they've still got it going. Will we see it other places? The 100cc level, I think that's probably your best opportunity, depending on if maybe more club than national. Even
still, most of the time it's the one engine that's out there, really, and that's where it's kind of it's kind of wishy-washy because they're saying they promote multi-engine categories, but really it's one engine that's outperforming all the rest of them, so everybody's on that one engine.
Okay, so yeah, you're saying it's an open engine, but a lot of times guys will de facto to the one that they think is the best.
Right. I mean, I think the only you look at the junior category at Challenge, it's all Rock junior engines in that class. I think the 60 Cadet is somewhat back and forth. We saw all the Masters drivers except for Greg Welch jump on a VLR on the Sunday. So that's the one thing. I was watching the WSK race and the announcer, I can't remember his name off the top of my head now, but the Jamaican said, anyway, I love how
is it still Ian Sylvester?
Ian. Yes. Ian. That's who it is. Yes. Yep. And he was mentioning the power plants. I'm like, that's very odd because we don't do that anymore. We don't talk about the type of engine that these drivers are on. And so that's where I was thinking, like, unless the US adopts that FIA format of the OK platform, we're not going to see different manufacturers racing each other in the engine side of things. It's all going to be, I mean, we're looking at Briggs 206 is all spec. The new Tillotson program, it's a spec chassis, spec engine. Margay's Ignite, spec chassis.
We're in our spec years, David. There's no doubt. Well, this is manufacturer driven racing for sure. Yeah.
But if we're going to continue that, I don't see how we can go back. That's what I'm kind of segueing here is where I don't see the vision of going back away from that. Because I mean, look at our major platforms. It's all IAME engines. You go to Rock Cup, it's all the Rock engine.
Here's my thought why though. So I was actually just talking to Mike Shorn from the Northwest Karting Association, which is the Burley Products Super Cup, I believe is the name of the program this year. Great series, as we know, up in the Pacific Northwest, which has that tag program, right? They have it.
Right.
Now, if you're going to do that, it's interesting you say this because we're almost ready to go back to Tucson, where we were back in 2013, 13 years ago for the Supercarts USA Pro Tour, the third year of the program or fourth year of the program, back when we had tag engines. And the issue there is when you're having the multi-engine deal, essentially you got to make sure at least you lock down development. And they do that over in Europe, right? They've locked the development down with homologation. We didn't have that kind of over here. There was new parts coming in for the IAME engine, the Leopards at that time, or was even X30s. There was Rotax was doing new stuff. And for those of you who weren't here 13 years ago, and that's the vast majority of the sport, I would expect. Essentially, we rolled into Tucson for the what was then the Spring Nationals, David, correct? Spring Nats?
Yeah, it was the Spring Nats, yeah.
And the Rotax engines were the ones you had to have. Whatever the next update for the Rotax engine was, if you didn't have a Rotax engine, you were second off the pace. So everybody was having to rent Rotaxes, find Rotaxes. A couple of teams said, we're IAME teams. We're not even running. We're going to boycott, not even run. And after that, I can't remember how much money Tom Kutcher and Scusa spent. They went to, I think, Grand Junction with Sabre Cook, Alan Rudolph, and they just went out and banked. I think he told me it was like $25,000 or $30,000, tires, engines, whatever, to come up with an equalization formula. Right? They had to then all of a sudden they had to figure out all the weights with each category.
Yeah.
Listen, spec racing, one make engine racing started at Tucson because Kutcher said, "Why am I doing this? This is ridiculous. We can't keep up with it."
And I completely agreed with that scenario. I mean, it was pretty ridiculous to have, again, one engine power plant be that much quicker. It's quite insane. And that's where I do enjoy the spec side of things, is because it's a level playing field. It should be 99% of the time. Sometimes there's the bad people who creep into the sport, but again, even you look at NASCAR, you look at IndyCar, you look at Formula One, there's different manufacturers, both on the chassis side of things and on the engine side of things. And so again, NASCAR's a spec chassis now. Correct. Different branding. Yeah. Different branding, but at least they have the different engine power plants. So
that's true.
I mean, yes. I think at the top level, we're always going to have the chassis wars. We're always going to have the chassis battles of which chassis is better, and obviously OTK is a massive number of percentage across the USA, but the other brands are all there, winning multiple times here and there. So we do have that chassis war in terms of the engine war that you have in IndyCar, where it's Honda versus Chevy. But for me, it's quite unique in the fact that because we have all these companies getting bought out by these larger corporations, are they going to start narrowing down the products they put out? Because you look at it, like, we're kind of like, we're not at the international engine level because we're not doing that OK platform. We're kind of at the almost quote unquote national level, because that's what the IME program is, the ROC program is, the Rotax program. Well, Rotax is actually global. That's different, but I just wonder.
Stars is the only program doing the OK, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But I wonder if down the road, the manufacturers are going to be like, we don't need 15, 20 different engines.
So that's a bigger discussion, isn't it? That's getting into the kind of global positioning.
I'm just kind of putting it out there right now as like, this could happen.
Well, so what Dave, if you don't know, folks, what Dave's kind of alluding to is that there are some major motorsports corporations that are buying into the sport, that are buying, new investors into Barrel Art and OTK and
TM,
and IAME. So these engine programs and chassis manufacturers are becoming part of bigger conglomerations. And so what would it take? If one engine, let's just say one of the companies owns IAME and TM, they just go, well, we're just going to shut one down. Right. Yeah.
And while you look at ROC, I just got the email. ROC Italy is actually removing the GP engine. They're going to the new SVR engine. So again, they're evolving their engine platform. So eventually I would say the ROC GP is going to be no longer utilized. Yeah. They got their SV already for the senior category. I got to assume that the junior category will follow suit with that. So yeah, I just wonder eventually if they're going to be like, all right, we have too many power plants. We need to narrow this down, and we're just going to follow the FIA, and this is it. You run this, and these are what we're going to produce.
Yeah. So full circle to the question, where is there a place where multi-engine is going to continue? We already talked about the Northwest Karting Association. Does it come to a place where there are regional series that want to make sure that they are able to have a place for anybody? So if you're in a region where there's a ROC Cup program, there's a SCUSA program, there's whatever else it may be, you're running IAME, you're running ROC, you're running Rotax. Hey, listen, we're a club here, or we're a regional series within this program. We want to make sure we have a place for everybody to race, depending on what engine you own. That's when that tag multi-engine thing can work, is provided you're able to find the equalization formula. I was talking to Mike Shorn from Northwest, and they're very happy with where they are. They're down to half a pound with the way they've got things handled.
And that's where I think the FIA and the OK platform is going to be more generalized, because it has that manufacturing homologation where you have to follow. That's where, FIA is overseeing all that. So then it eliminates all that homework that all these promoters and ASNs have to do to be able to try and make it work.
They're limiting the performance creep. That was the big thing that we had back in 2013. The continuing development of certain parts on the Rotax, all of a sudden it came alive. The Tucson track kind of played exactly to the performance characteristics of that engine, and the Rotax was the best. Now, I want to clarify. I said a half a pound. I think it's 5 pounds for the guys up in the Pacific Northwest. They've got it dialed in to like a 5 pound difference between the VLR and the KA, which is crucial, man. Yeah. If you pick one engine and you can't afford the whole arrive and drive program, I own 1 or 2 KAs or 1 or 2 VLRs. I want to be able to race different places. So ideally, there are series that offer the multi-engine equalization, in terms of weight, whatever it may be. And that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing in the sport when you're trying to open the door for everybody to play.
Yeah, we'll just have to kind of wait and see where we evolve next.
All right, final break, folks. When we get back, we'll talk about what's coming up on ekartingnews.com. Is IndyCar your dream? If it is, for 2024 and beyond, the path from karting to IndyCar has gotten even clearer. It's time to look into the new USF Juniors program and the Tatis JR23. As a first step of the USF Pro Championships presented by Continental Tires, the USF Junior Series will feature a 6-event, 13-race schedule to train racers for the move into the USF 2000 Championship presented by Continental Tires. 3 of the events in 2024 will run alongside IndyCar at Mid-Ohio, Road America, and Portland. The champion will win a scholarship worth over $263,000, and there's a total prize fund that will exceed $330,000. The series utilizes the state-of-the-art Tatis JR23 race car, which is a development version of the USF 22 used in USF 2000. It's the ideal entry point for career-minded karters moving into the car racing ladder. Safety is always front and center in the minds of the series promoters, and the new USF Juniors car also features the Halo, and races are supported by members of the AMR IndyCar safety team. If IndyCar is your goal, USF Juniors is the starting line. For more information, visit www.usfjuniors.com and follow USF Juniors on social media. Parolin is among the winningest brands in the USA and around the world. The Parolin Le Mans full-size chassis for junior and senior classes and the Parolin Opportunity model for cadet divisions have earned success weekend after weekend at all the major championships and events in both the USA and throughout Europe. The Parolin chassis lineup also includes the Invader shifter, along with the Daytona 4-cycle chassis and the Delfino Kid Kart. Karters can head to the ParolinUSA.com website where the entire chassis line and parts are available to you, with shipping available all across North America. Parolin USA partners with several companies and race teams across the country to provide a strong dealer network to represent the brand locally and at the national level to support drivers throughout North America. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Parolin. All right, let's wrap up this edition of This Week in Karting, episode number 95, March the 10th here. Rob Howden alongside David Cole. As we know, folks, lots of podcasts being put out like this one here, This Week in Karting, always available on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, YouTube, or any of the other usual podcast outlets. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Please give us a review. We like that a lot. A lot of our content gets pushed out on the EKN radio network as well, a 24/7 channel, the only karting radio station in the world, ekartingnews.com/radio, or you can download our EKN radio network app, always streaming stuff there. But David, what's coming up now on EKN over the next month?
Yeah, again, we'll be trackside next week at the RMC America's Trophy debut, March 20th through the 22nd on the Musselman Honda Circuit in Tucson, Arizona. I'll do a quick return home and then flight back to Tucson and join you for what will be the opening round of the 2026 SuperKarts USA Pro Tour as they host the Winter Nationals at the Musselman Honda Circuit 27th through the 29th of March.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped. It's the first time that I've been able to do the full SuperKarts USA Pro Tour, all 3 races in a number of years. I normally have at least 1, maybe 2 conflicts with my work with the USF Pro Championship. So yeah, all open weekends this year means I get to go back to Tucson for the Winter Nats. I get to go to MCC for the first time. I've never been to the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. I can't wait to see that place for the Spring Nationals, and of course back to Newcastle for the Summer Nats as well. David, after that, a little bit of a break in the action for you, but we'll be covering the opening rounds of the United States Pro Kart Series. Neither of us can make it to that event, but yeah, we'll be covering that event for sure. It's going to be a good start to USPKS.
Yeah, that will be April 10th through the 12th at the Mooresville Motorplex. No, Trackhouse Motorplex. Yes,
wow,
that's where it is. And
Mooresville Motorplex.
Yeah, I'll be in California. You'll be somewhere else, and we'll do kind of a recap of the Carolina Grand Prix that following week.
Yeah, last but not least, if you look at the month of action coming, lots of racing with the RMC America's Trophy, SCUSA Pro Tour, USPKS, the Challenge of the Americas set to go at Phoenix Kart Racing Association, April 17th to the 19th. David, they actually just posted something, I believe yesterday, might have been earlier today if my memory is not working. They're still looking for that minimum amount entries that they want for Phoenix to be able to go ahead with this thing. It's a tough place right now for the Challenge of the Americas. A fantastic program that we've been privileged to be able to be part of for many, many years. I hate to see it get to the point where, David, it's there may not be a race at Phoenix, which really sucks.
Yeah, again, the deadline is coming up here on March 14th. So again, get the entries in, get the deposit in for the entry. Again, you don't have to pay the full entry, but at least the deposit and confirming that you're going to be there.
Yeah.
We had over 60 at K1, so we're hoping to get the same number, if not more, with local support there at the PKRA facility.
That wraps things up for this week in karting, episode number 95. Big thank you to Margay Racing for being a longtime supporter of ekartingnews.com. If you've never ran in an Ignite race, do it. You see that David and I try to jump at Ignite whenever we possibly can. Quincy Grand Prix coming at the end of June, Rock Island Labor Day weekend. David and I love the opportunity to be with the Margay Ignite family. Great kart, great package, and a lot of fun. Visit ignitekarting.com to learn more. Thanks for tuning into this edition of the show, folks. We do appreciate it. On behalf of David Cole, my name is Rob Howden. Bye for now.